Mission 1, start!
Hello and welcome. Today I'm bringing you my review and ranking of Metal Slug 4 from the Neo Geo Collection 4 for the Evercade. And in this I'll also add it to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Originally released in 2002, Metal Slug 4 was developed by Mega Enterprise and Noise Factory, as it was during SNK's bankruptcy period, and it wasn't developed by Nazca Corporation, who did the previous games, and it very much shows.
Story.
This time around, in the story of Metal Slug, the Amadeus Syndicate has unleashed a cyber virus to seize global military networks. But it's a run and gun game. Do you really need a story? It's just pew 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 and what have you, right? So who cares? I might normally talk about nostalgia, but this is a game that I've played in more recent years for the first time, so there isn't any. So let's move on to the
graphics.
As you can no doubt see, it looks like a Metal Slug game. There's some really gorgeous sprite work, a lot going on, some cool visual effects, some detailed backgrounds. I'm going to say positive things, right? Well, no, most of what I'm going to say is negative. But that's not to say that it's a bad looking game at all. It isn't. It is a good looking game. All the Metal Slug games are. This is strictly in comparison to the other games in the series. Sure, the main sprites are really good. You have two new characters who, they play the same as the other ones, and they look the part. The backgrounds at first glance look the part. The new enemies at first glance look the part. But you start to notice the sort of art design isn't really of the same standard as the previous games. The backgrounds are quite bland and lack any real flair or exciting set pieces. The new sprites, some of them are quite nice and they are well done, but they're very much lacking the sort of cool factor of the design that the previous games had, and in many ways look like something you'd see in a knockoff Metal Slug. So while the visuals are polished to a reasonable degree, it is the art direction that lets it down. Also, there is a large amount of reused assets from previous games, which was common with all the games, but it does seem more egregious here. So it is still a good looking game, but as far as the series goes, it is the weakest of them, at least of all the ones that I've played anyway.
Sound and music.
Okay, it's a Metal Slug game. They sound good, they have exciting, bombastic soundtracks, and this one isn't really any different. In comparison to other Metal Slug games, this is where it comes off best.
Gameplay. Much
like the graphics, it very much plays like a Metal Slug game should do. The controls are pretty tight, there's enemies to shoot, everything feels quite satisfying. Some of the vehicles from the previous game are removed and some new ones will replace them. A forklift, interestingly enough, among them. And actually, in some ways, these vehicles handle a bit differently from the ones in previous games. All in all, much like the visuals of the game, I think at first glance or first play, you'll think, well, this is another Metal Slug and they play fine, I like them, that's great. And yeah, sure. The negatives, however, aside from the lack of anything new and it feeling a little bit stale, what I found most notably different was the quality of the bosses, not just the visuals but how they play out, and the difficulty. With the other Metal Slug games, they seem much more possible to get good at, and to beat them perhaps not even on one credit if you get good enough. Metal Slug 4 feels difficult by being cheap, basically it's more of a credit muncher. The difficulty often feels unfair, which is fine if you're playing multiplayer or just credit feeding your way through, but I found it felt more like a chore to play through than the other games in the series. And the final mission, which you'd think would be some big epic climactic battle, and it's just weak and unimpressive, especially compared to the epic conclusions of the previous games in the series.
Overall opinion.
Metal Slug 4 is often considered or referred to as the weakest in the series, and of the ones I've played that is definitely true. And I've played Metal Slugs 1 through 6, X, and I think that's it. But even as the worst Metal Slug game, in my opinion, TM, it is still a very competent game. It just lacks the level of creativity and insanity that really defined the series. I wouldn't go as far as to call it soulless, but it is very much an uninspired rehash. But at least it's rehashing something good.
Ranking.
To place Metal Slug 4 on my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever, I've elected to put it above Spider Fighter but below River Raid, placing it at 108 out of 448 games that I've ranked so far. So yeah, Metal Slug 4 is a solid game but noticeably weaker than the others in the series. Anyway, that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.